Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Grow Your Brand with Amanda podcast. And today I have with me Brooke Bownes, and she is a coach and therapist. Welcome, Brooke.
Thank you for having me.
I'm really looking forward to this. So, before we find out about you and your incredible business, I'm just going to ask you three questions so we get to know you a little bit better. So, do you have a favorite motivational song?
I do actually. Called a Golden Old. It's by James Brown. I feel good.
I love that song.
Yeah, even just thinking about it makes me smile. So I was like, yeah,
That's such a good song, and you can't help but feel good when you listen to it, can you?
yeah, because you're
Yeah,
singing. I feel good. So it's like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That was so that we'll put that song on the playlist on Spotify that accompanies the podcast, and that whole playlist is just motivational songs from everyone that's ever been on this podcast. I love it, so it's just a whole motivational thing. So, do you listen to it often, or whenever you need to pick me up?
I listen to it quite often, and yeah, if I feel a bit okay, right, I'll go put the kettle on and dance around my kitchen, put James Brown on, and I'm good to go again.
That is so good. I love that. And do you have a motivational quote?
Yeah, real simple one. Be kind.
Yeah. You can't go wrong with that, can you? It's
No.
just such a good barometer. Yeah, I love it. Be kind. And do you read? This is just me being nosy. If you do read, do you have a favorite book?
I do have a favorite book, which is actually one that changed my life because
Oh, tell me
it's
more.
my own book. Actually,
Really? You can have it.
I set myself a challenge and I wrote and published it in 90 days as well.
Really?
Yeah.
What? That's unbelievable. Tell me more about your book, and I will add it to my list.
It's called You Can Have It, How to Break Through the Self-Sabotage Cycle. And it's got 12 chapters in it that go through the self-sabotage cycle that I went through to break through it. You can do them as standalone chapters, or you can just follow the chapters. And at the end of each chapter, there's an exercise to kind of embed what you've just learned in the chapter as well. So yeah, it's the what I followed to help me to break through my own self-sabotage.
Incredible. I will put the link to that in the show notes of the podcast. And did you say you wrote and published it in 90 days?
I did, yes. I decided to set
Unbelievable.
myself a challenge and thought, because I love to inspire people to think what they can do. So I thought, if I just put out on Facebook, I'm going to write and publish a book within 90 days. I set a date, and it's a pivotal date because it was my granddaughter's birthday, who I helped to give birth to on my daughter's kitchen floor. It's another
Oh,
story. And it was published on the 1st of September, which is mine and my husband's wedding anniversary. But what I wanted to do, I wasn't aiming to be a best-selling New York Times author or anything. I wanted to just inspire people. And as I went through the journey, it's quite interesting because every day I was documenting how I was feeling, how it was going, the ups and downs. And people started off saying, "You're really brave." Oh, I couldn't do that. And then it started people messaging me saying, "I thought their name for my book. I wrote my first paragraph. I wrote my first line. I've got a draft together." And some people were saying they were going for promotions. Others started businesses. Others changed their job. And one person even said, if you can write and publish a book in 90 days, I can ask out somebody that I've been wanting to ask out on a date. I can surely ask them to come out for a cup of coffee with me. So, as far as I was concerned, before the book was actually published, it was a success because it got people thinking in a different way. And that's what I love to do.
that's so incredible because all people need to see is just someone a few steps ahead doing something that makes them think, oh, wow, that's really different, new, inspirational, or brave, or whatever word they want to put to it. And it does, it fires people up to go and do something that maybe they've put off
Yeah.
or they hadn't thought about, or maybe they thought they had that they couldn't do. And I know you've done something else, which is what we're going to talk about when we get in the podcast, but that's amazing. You are just one on fire lead.
As well, yeah, I had a separate Facebook group that people joined, and I asked them what titles they thought was a good title, what picture to put on the book. So they felt like they were coming on the journey with me. So they were really invested in the book as well. And so it was really nice to have everybody like giving their opinions of what they thought about the title, the fonts, because there's quite a lot of little decisions like that to make along the way. But yeah, it was a fun learning curve because I knew nothing about writing the book on the 28th of May when I decided to do it. But as I did put it out there and said I was going to do it, I found somebody who could help me edit it, somebody that could do the cover for me, somebody else could help me to put it up on Amazon, and it was all sorted, and away I went.
That is unbelievable. It really is, and it's no mean feat either. Wow. And do you know, that's probably on a lot of people's, I hate this expression, there's got to be a better one, on a lot of people's bucket lists. You know that they want something that they want to do. So yeah, I'll definitely put the link for that on the show notes. And that is unbelievable. Wow, just
Yeah, it was on my bucket list as well. Like one day I'll write a book. And I thought, no, because I know I love a challenge. So if I can challenge myself, even if I didn't do it in the 90 days, if I did it in 100 days, I will still have done my book. And,
yeah.
I'd accomplished something that's a lot of people, like you say, yeah, one day I'll do that.
Mhm.
And so, yes, it's like, and it's, lovely when I like go around to my children's houses and see my book on their bookshelf and stuff.
Oh.
It's like, oh,
And you know, and they will inevitably say, "Oh, my mom wrote a book,"
yeah,
and family members. Oh, look, sister, brother, or sister, family aunt has written a book, and it's just something to be so unbelievably proud of. And it's this
mm,
tangible thing that you've got, and you can't imagine anyone ever saying, "Oh, I wish I'd never done that," And it's just like, what's that expression where you aim for the moon when you reach the stars? You
yeah.
said even if it taken you a little bit longer, you still would have done it and you would have gone through the whole process. But wow, that is amazing. I don't think anyone's ever said when I've asked about a book, I don't think they've ever said, "Here's mine." So that is definitely a first. Oh, thanks for that. That's incredible. I'm definitely going to get my own copy of that. Thank you.
And also as well, I had one lady message me after saying, thank you very much. You helped me get through my chemo. She said, because I read your book as I was having my chemo. And I thought, oh, I never even kind of like thought about that. But, it's that ripple effect. You go and do something, it creates that ripple effect, which I absolutely love.
You just don't know really what impact you're having on people around you and what they're thinking or what they might go and do because of what you've done. And that's amazing. You should gather all those stories up maybe and do something with those.
Yeah.
That would be a podcast.
Yeah.
That would be so interesting. A podcast of stories inspired by your book. There you go.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. So on to you and your coaching and therapy business. So what inspired you to start your business and how has your personal story shaped your brand?
Well, I grew up with absolutely no confidence, no self-belief whatsoever. I had a narcissistic mother who told me daily that I was ugly, useless, worthless, and I'd never amount to anything, and nobody would ever love me. So you can
Oh,
imagine the sort of belief system that I had growing up. And then I um, left home and ended up marrying somebody who was a narcissist, and thought, okay, I've kind of like jumped out the frying pan into the fire here. Something needs to change. And I think it needs to be me because I'm obviously attracting people that aren't any good for me. So then I started on like my mindset journey. I thought, right, I need to get a really, really, really good, strong mindset. And I did. And then I started doing talks and speaking on stage. And I thought, one day I was back in the hall getting mic'd up to go on stage. I thought, my mind wants to do this, but my body's panicking and going, no, I'm feeling sick. My heart was pounding, my palms were sweating. I thought, something still isn't quite right. I know I want to do this. And so I then come across working with sort of like trauma and how trauma is trapped in your body and emotions are trapped in your body. So I then went on to be like a therapist as well to help people to release that trauma and the emotions that are trapped in our bodies. Because often in childhood, we hear a sentence and it can stick with us for a long time unless we deal with it and process it, and it can hold us back. So now I'm very, very passionate about helping women to be confident, to be themselves, to be seen and heard, and have fun in the process. Because, we've all heard that famous saying, feel the fear and do it anyway. Well, I'm more, okay, feel that fear, notice where it comes from, process it, and then go and have fun doing whatever you want to do. Don't let it stop you, but have fun doing it rather than feeling sick and your stomach churning and your heart pounding. So yeah, I'm really passionate about helping women to have their own voice and be, visible and confident in themselves, because we're often grown up saying, oh, little good girls don't do that, good girls don't say that, good girls don't shout out loud, you're being too loud, you're doing this or you're doing that. And so we don't speak out and say the things we want to do, or do the things we want to do, because we're not going to be a good girl if we don't do it that way.
so interesting. And I hadn't had an awareness of those emotions or those negative statements forced on us being trapped in the body, and that there was a way to release it, and just how you described your mind wanting to do it and your body not wanting to do it. And it's so interesting because I'm a coach myself, and to get someone to pause and think about what your body's actually doing in that moment, and having that self-awareness, and getting that person on that journey to stop, to pause and notice and process it, and being trauma informed, as you said, it's just such an interesting, fascinating journey, and sad that people have to go on that journey as well. And the experiences that you had sound utterly awful, but what an incredible level of self-awareness that you did have to even acknowledge that you needed to shift that from your those blocks, because they didn't become embedded beliefs. You didn't carry on believing that those things that your mother said to you. You knew that they were wrong, and that you tried to change that belief in yourself. And I think that self-awareness is really incredible. And then to have moved on and flipped it on its head completely and used it to help other people to channel that and use it positively. I just think, wow. And you're just describing going on stage as a, like I go to the supermarket, you go talking on stages and getting mic'd up is enough to make most people feel weak at the knees.
Yeah.
But you said you were shy, and not that confident, and for I know the journey to get from that point to that point to get mic'd up and go on stage, and I just think, wow, but that journey's so incredible, and it just brings me on then to the next sort of question, um, the turning point then. When did you realize that you had to be more visible, or did you choose to be more visible? What made you want to get on the stage?
Well, it was interesting because I took all my coaching qualifications. I thought, okay, I absolutely love coaching people, but I didn't kind of think about the other side of it, like marketing and promote myself. And I'm naturally an introvert, so I'm happy behind the camera, not in front of it. And even to the point when I put my first selfie up on Facebook, all four of my children phoned me and said, "You've put a picture up of you, Mum." I'm like, yeah, I know. But I realized that I needed to get out of my own way to talk about what I was doing to help other women. So I then started to be more visible. I had an absolute fear of doing Facebook Lives because to me, when I went to go and do one, my inner chatter was going, no, good girls don't speak out. Good girls don't say things like that. You're going to get in trouble if you speak out. Because as a child, if I spoke out, whether I done something wrong or not, I was in trouble. So my body was still going, and my inner child was going, no, 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 we're not doing this. We can't. And I procrastinated for weeks. But then once I did it, okay, well, I need to get over this. So I again done the inner work. And then I set myself a challenge. It comes a challenge again to do a Facebook Live every day for a month. I thought, I'll pick February because that's the shortest month. And then, by doing that, people got to know me and trust me and like me. And I ended up getting quite a few clients from doing that. So I now do a regular thing every February. I do a Facebook Live every day in February.
So what strikes me then, your need to get the message out was greater than the fear you felt.
Absolutely, yeah.
So interesting. That's really interesting. And the fact that you set that challenge, so you don't want to not do the challenge. So the challenge is what drives you to do the thing. And the drive to get the message out is greater than your fear of actually
Yeah.
achieving it. That's just so interesting. So
I
what
was so nervous though, the first time I did a Facebook Live, I got the camera around the wrong way. And because I was so nervous and my nervous system was like, I couldn't think. I couldn't think how to flip the camera around. So I just made a joke and said, well, it's a good job I've Hoovered today because all you're seeing is my carpet, and made a joke about it and just carried on. And
exactly.
I had two people message me straight away saying, I've been following you for a while and I love the fact that you were just so honest. You
Mhm.
wasn't all professional and polished with a perfect backdrop and everything. I'd like to have a chat about working with you because they could
Exactly.
relate to me. They could understand how.
Completely. People don't want to see this polished, perfect persona and this perfectly scripted PR prepped person. They want to see the flaws, and they want to see the ums and the ahs. And if someone trips over their words or says something, it absolutely makes you relatable. And you think about you and what type of person that you follow online, or what you're interested in. You're automatically drawn to the person that makes fun of themselves. For me, just as a really weird Hollywood example, I just love Jennifer Lawrence, just as a name that everybody knows, because I find her just so funny. She just doesn't seem to take herself seriously. She tripped up the stairs when she won an Oscar, and when she's being interviewed, she doesn't take herself seriously at all. And so that's what's so endearing about her, she just doesn't prance around like the Kardashians or whatever, because I think everything about them is so polished. But for us, going live on Facebook, what's the worst thing that could happen? You point your camera the wrong way. Big deal. You can still talk, and I just love that. And if I'm tuning in to watch someone and something goes wrong, I'll just laugh, but the people are laughing with you, not
Yeah.
at you, and people people's fear of judgment is sometimes so big that it stops them from doing that. And I love that you've done that. And I'm going to use that as an example. I'm going to say, oh,
Well,
Brooke, here.
I'm now doing a challenge, as we talked about before, doing 365 days of videos on LinkedIn. And sometimes I don't edit any of my videos once I get rolling. That's just it. But if I start and stumble over a few things, I will save those bits, and I do a bloopers thing on a Friday of
Mhm,
all I kind of messed ups, and people absolutely love them because
mhm.
like one particular video, I was trying to go 3 things I want to tell you today. And do you think I could do the three? No, I couldn't. And I was just laughing, and I saved that bit and I clip them all together and put them
Yeah.
out on a Friday, and people absolutely love them. They look forward to seeing my bloopers on a Friday now.
And that's amazing because you've just turned that into content. And I do that as well. I do the podcasts. It's not edited, and I use the video on YouTube. But when I first started, everything was edited. And when I say edited, it was my ums and ahs, and I was thinking, oh, I can't say I thought everything had to be perfect, and that was part of my recovering perfectionist scenario. But videos that I do, they're unscripted. I just turn up, I do my video, and very strangely, I find it much easier to do a live piece rather than a recorded piece
Yeah.
because I think something twigs in my brain. It's live. You just got to do it, and I get on with it. Whereas if you're recording something, you just end up with loads and loads of bloopers. But people do love those bloopers, and it's brilliant that you keep doing it. And there you go. You have another challenge again. So, what would you say to someone then who says, "I hate promoting myself"? What advice would you give them?
Again, it's thinking about why, going back to your why are you doing this? Because when you can actually step out of your own way and think about the person that's receiving your message and your promotion rather than what you're looking like, you'll actually then not worry so much. I mean, I talk about these videos. Somebody said I was doing one about these things you can't do, what you hear throughout your life, you can't do this, you can't do that. And I was talking about, oh yeah, I might do a video with a colander on my head, for a kitchen colander. And somebody said, oh, you can't do that on LinkedIn. So I did a video saying, I was told I can't do this, told I can't do that. And right at the end, I said, and somebody said, I can't do a LinkedIn video with a colander on my head, and just pointed to it. Turns out I can. So I wasn't thinking about, oh my goodness, what will people think of me and how stupid will I sound? I was thinking about the message I wanted people to hear and how they would receive it.
Mhm,
So it's thinking about how people can receive what you've got to say,
mhm,
not, oh my goodness, what does my hair look like today? Or, what are people going to think about my outfit? Because
mhm,
I've actually done a video on LinkedIn where I literally just got up in the morning, had no makeup on, hadn't washed or had a shower or anything. My hair needed washing. I had an old hoodie on, and I pointed all this out. And so many people commented and said, "Well, your hair looks fine to me, and
mhm.
you look great with no makeup on." And until you said that it was an old hoodie, we wouldn't have known it was. But it's our perception of what we think about ourselves that stops us from doing all the things that we want to do to be visible, because we worry, again, going back to our childhood, because growing up we often hear, oh, you can't do that. What will people think? What will
I
people
know.
think? So we don't do that because, and until you process and deal with that, and that's how I help my clients, is that, okay, it doesn't matter what people. I've dressed up in monkey outfits and said like I'm not in the chimp, and
Mhm,
I'm scared because, and done videos. I wear bright coloured wigs,
mhm,
and one of them was like, okay, 3 things that'll stop you from being visible. and it's got nothing to do with the color of your hair. And I've just pointed to my bright green wig I had on, and people absolutely love it. And when I go to in-person networking events now, people say, "Oh my God, I love that video you did with the bright green wig on, or I love the video you did with your bright orange hair, or whatever it is." I'm thinking, I've got no idea who they are, but they
I
know
know
who I
you know.
am.
That's so insightful of you to pick that up and run with it. And people never watch you as closely as you watch you.
Mm.
If I think less experienced people are watching, they're critiquing very, very simple things. You pointed out the hair and the makeup and stuff. And I know the audience doesn't watch you as close, you as the person videoing. They're not watching that person as closely as they think they are. And if you just get on with the message and think of your audience, as you've just said, you probably get out of your own way, as you've just said, and enjoy it more, have a little bit more fun with it. But we are so hard on ourselves, and that's something that I wish more people would get on board with. But I love your attitude. That's so good. But the thing is, if someone said, "Oh, you can't do that," you're more inclined to go and do it. And
Yeah.
yeah, there's something in your head that goes, "Oh, yeah, can I not?" Then and off you go and do it. I know, I absolutely love that. So, what's been the most surprising benefit of putting yourself front and center of your brand then? So I think we know your visibility's gone sky high.
Yeah, I think it's the connections I've made and the people I've been able to help because of it. Because if I hadn't promoted myself, I wouldn't have the clients I have. I wouldn't have the business I had. I wouldn't be able to do the pro bono work that I do because I'm so fortunate. I've got some lovely clients. I can afford to help people out that aren't in a position to pay as well. So it's all of those things. I've got the dream life that I wanted. I've created my own life, and I'm living that life because of the fact that I got out of my own way and started promoting me.
Mm,
It's been a learning curve because I was talking to my husband a few months back, and he said, actually, he said, that's a whole skill set in its own, social media and being visible and promoting yourself and doing all the things that you're doing. And I said, yeah, if I'd have realized it probably when I started my business, I may not have thought of it, but my message and my mission is so powerful that I just overcome it, because up until then I was behind the camera, an introvert, happily to hide behind it. But like I said, I've done a lot of the inner work stuff, and I realize how important it is to, especially to show other people who haven't got the voice, who feel shy, feel, some people say to me, "Oh, I'm not like you, Brooke. I'm an introvert. I'm not an extrovert." And I'm like, "I'm not either.
mm,
I'm great when I'm with people, but
mm,
I need to, like, go and recharge on my own. And I'm quite happy in my own company." But it's thinking about what you want to achieve. And back again, like I said, back to your why, because that will be the thing that propels you forward. Is your why really that strong?
mm. Yeah, really, really interesting. And if you'd known the visibility journey when you started, it would have been way too overwhelming. But to get there step by step, bite-sized bits, you can do the next bit, you could do the next bit and the next bit. But if you'd seen the full journey in advance, and I think that goes for most professionals anyway, if you'd seen what it looked like, it probably would have put you off. But because you took your own pace, you did your own thing, you were able to do it in a manageable way for you that was comfortable for you, put yourself out of your comfort zone little by little when you were ready. But if you've done it your way, then absolutely many people can do it. And I'm not a natural extrovert either. My own comfortable state of being is it's on my own, quietly tucked away, and everything that I do is pushing myself out of my comfort zone. But yeah, it always takes a bit of effort. Not everybody is an extrovert, and I think you'd be quite surprised really at what most people have to say about being extrovert or introvert. But if you're running a business, you have to do some things that aren't not don't come naturally at first. But I think
Yeah,
everything can be learned, and um, you get more used to them. And what when you described about going doing those lives every day, becoming more used to them becomes the fear is less, and you just
yeah.
do it becomes part of the routine.
Well, I went on a clowning workshop a few months ago, and it was called Freedom in Failing. And we had to just stand up and do something and get people to laugh. And if you didn't, okay, move on to the next thing, try and get them to laugh. We got rid of our fear about failing and not things not working out very, very quickly. But again, it's like my doing 365 days of videos. So many people have said, how do you think of 365 days of content? I said, I don't, because that would be too overwhelming. I just do one video one day and then move on to the next day. And
Yeah.
that's how I've worked my way through so far.
Mhm. And that's what makes it spontaneous and natural and authentic. And if you were to sit down to script that many days worth of stuff, it would become robotic, and you probably wouldn't enjoy it either. Because if you're showing up every day,
Yeah,
there's so much stimuli going on around us. It could be something in the news, it could be something happening, current affairs. There might be something that prompts something. But to do that, to plan that out for a whole year, I can't imagine anyone could do it and be
yeah.
comfortable doing it or happy doing it. Do you have any confidence tricks or rituals that you do beforehand to um to make you fired up whenever you're going on camera, or do you just do it?
Yeah. No, I actually breathe. And people say, what do you mean breathe? But actually, when you're go to do something, we often do like really shallow chest breathing, but actually that sends a signal to our subconscious mind that something scary is happening. So we get all like kind of nervous. But if we take some nice deep breaths, we're not in that scared fight or flight situation if we're breathing nice and slow and nice and deep. So our subconscious mind says, oh, okay, we're safe to do this. So it's really thinking about, and obviously I've done a lot of inner work and stuff to deal with all that sort of thing as well. So it's just making sure that your body is on board with what you actually want to do as well. So that's really, really helpful. And just keep doing it, that little baby step. You know, once I've climbed the mountain of doing 365 days of videos, it's like, but I did it one day at a time. It's not looking too far into the future as well. Thinking, okay, what can I achieve? Yes, have the big picture. Yes, I want to do 365 days of videos, but I broke it down into manageable chunks. Okay, what can I do? What can I achieve that's not going to set my nervous system off going, oh, no, I can't do that.
Mhm. Yeah. And I think, yeah, you're absolutely right about the breathing thing. I think people definitely underestimate the power of that, and to pause before they're doing the thing. And that for me, it's 10 very deep breaths, and I pause, and then off you go and do it. And breaking everything down to manageable chunks and making that connection between your brain and your body, and what's actually happening. But I hadn't considered the short, shallow breaths, and the fact that that's the fight or flight response probably kicking in.
Yeah, but you think about it, if you're walking somewhere and you suddenly feel nervous, you go, okay.
Yeah, you're holding
And
your
then
breath, aren't you,
because
in
your
fear?
body wants to, we need that fight or flight to kick in. Because if somebody's chasing us,
Yeah.
coming after us, behind us in a dark alley or something, we want to be able to physically fight or physically run. But when we're sitting in front of a camera to do a video or a Facebook Live, we don't need to have that feeling. We need to be nice and calm. So yeah, it's really noticing your breathing, because people that are calm and confident breathe quite deeply. But if
Mhm.
you're feeling nervous, you're okay, okay, I got to do this. Oh my goodness, I got to do this. And it sends a signal to your subconscious mind to look out for danger, because obviously our subconscious mind is there to keep us alive and keep us safe. So if
Mhm.
we're suddenly doing short, shallow breaths, okay, where's the danger? It's like
Mhm.
you've kind of triggered that flight or fight in your body, and it's going to be looking for that.
Mhm. And I think even your sentences would come out shorter, like you're almost out of
Yeah.
breath because you've got yourself into that kind of state. But definitely a lot of a lot of power in stopping and doing good deep breathing. So, what visibility channel has moved the needle most for your business? So, I'm guessing LinkedIn, but did podcasts, videos, and live events. So, what's been the most successful for you?
Oh, I think doing my book in 90 days and documenting it on
Honestly,
Facebook,
I can't believe that. That is so incredible.
because I documented the ups and the downs, how I was feeling, what I was writing. I'm not one of these people that like, oh, I'll show you, oh yeah, I'm going to do it, no problem, it's a breeze. I went through the ups and downs of what felt good, what didn't feel good, how I was feeling, how frustrated I was feeling, making all these decisions like what size the book needs to be, was the binder big enough to put the title on the edge of it or not, and all these kind of things. It's like,
I'm
oh
just
my
like,
god,
oh, that's so cute.
the office manager's just come in.
Oh, wow.
um, but yeah, it's like it's realizing that actually things you do in day-to-day life, people say, oh well, I'm not going to talk about that because people think I'm boring. But no, people love to know it because they're
Mhm.
getting to know you, they're connecting with you. So doing something like that, And obviously, because I wanted to be visible on LinkedIn, that was a great way of starting off my visibility on LinkedIn, going and doing a face video every day on LinkedIn.
Hmm. And yet, having the book definitely is going to spark people's interest. They're going to want to know what it is, how you did it, and they're curious about you. So that, that is just amazing. When did you publish it, by the way? Was it recently?
No, September 21.
Oh, so it's been around for a while. Oh, so that was that a lockdown thing? Is that work that came out of, or did you always want to do it?
No, it was just something that like I said, it's one of those things. Yeah, one day I'm going to write a book, and then I woke up one day I thought, Joe, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it in 90 days. I'll set myself a challenge. I thought, and I wasn't really, kind of stuck on the outcome. If I didn't do it in 90 days, I knew what I'd be close to it by then. So even if I did it 100 days, to me, I would still have achieved my goal, even if I didn't do it in the set days that I challenged myself. And it was just that momentum. Once I got the momentum going, then I was off and running. The book only actually took me a couple of weeks to write because it's what I do day in and day out. It's all the editing and the decisions
Yeah.
around everything else, and waiting for the cover to be sorted and things like that. So, but
Oh,
yeah, it is possible to do.
hmm. Well, there you go. Anyone listening or watching, living proof it can be done in 90 days. There's another challenge for anybody else. It's up for a challenge.
And as well, it's a great business card as such
Yeah.
because the authors get them quite cheap. You can take them out when you go networking and just go, "Oh, would you like a signed copy of my book?"
Hmm.
And when you say you're an author or you wrote a book, people will automatically kind of put you on a higher pedestal. They think, "Oh my goodness, you must be an expert because you wrote a book about
Well,
it."
you are, aren't you? And
Yeah.
the definition of an expert is always something else that confuses people. That they think that you've got to have, the PhD in whatever, and that's not necessarily the case. But yeah, having the book gives you that absolute credibility in your area, your field. So,
And people may throw a business card away, but they don't tend to throw a book. They'll probably put it on the bookshelf and somebody else might see it as well. So,
well, at the end of me, I've just got tons of books, audiobooks, Kindle books, physical books. I just absolutely love them, and I will always end up reading them. So if it gets added to my collection, it will definitely get read. But no, that is amazing. So where can we find out more about you online?
you
And
can find me on LinkedIn or on Facebook, and or email me. I do answer all my own emails personally, so I can give you all my email details and stuff to put in the show notes.
yep, I will put all those there. Well, thank you so much, Brooke, for joining me. It's been absolutely fascinating. I never dreamt I would have this conversation about the book, the 365 Facebook Lives, and all the amazing challenges that you've set yourself. But I just think, wow, what is coming next for Brooke? So you must have some other challenges lined up. But
I
if you
don't
do,
know.
come back on the podcast again and tell me all about them.
I definitely will. Thank you very much for having me.
No, thank you for joining me.